Hey everyone, so in this video, we're going to take a look at Elemental Orbs VFX pack by Piloto Studio. As you can see, as of the time of this recording, this is a fairly new package. It was originally uploaded, about 3 weeks ago, and they've already done at least one update since then. It's also a very small package. It's less than 6 megabytes. I decided to do a video on this one because even though there's not a whole lot of content to this package, there is currently, at least at the time of this recording, some troubleshooting that needs to be done. I've reported it to the publisher and they have responded. But I want to let you know in case this is something that you purchase anytime soon. The current price of this is 15. That's $15 USD. And as always, decide for yourself if that is worth it. So I have already done the importing into this project. And the first thing you're going to notice is that the name of the folder is neither the name of the studio nor the name of this package. And the publisher explained to me when I asked them about that why. Not a big deal. You can always just rename it. So if you have a large project and there's a lot of folders in it and you're wondering where it is, it's this one here, and you can just rename it. So what do you get? Not a lot, but this is also not meant to be a really comprehensive package. These are the kind of effects you would probably use either for power-ups or possibly as projectiles. And I'll show you a quick demo at the end of this video where I use them for both. So one thing to know is that the default setting is this is designed to be used, although it can be used with any of the three pipelines. So standard, URP, HDRP. By default, it's set up for URP. So right now I'm in the standard renderer pipeline. So what you'd have to do is you just click on the corresponding one. So in this case, this one that says standard, you just double click on that, you import, and you're all set. Okay, so I mentioned some troubleshooting. What happens is because this is designed for several different pipelines, there's lingering files that you don't need depending on where you are. So for instance, let's see if I can. Okay, right here. So these two, you do not need these for the standard pipeline because you can see it says there's a missing script. The publisher has assured me that this doesn't have any impact if you're in the standard pipeline. And I've used this package for a few days now and I haven't seen any problems. So according to him, you can just delete these. Next, if we go into orbs, this one is a little bit more troublesome. As you can see, when we click on this orb, and it's only the fire orb, none of the other ones have this issue, you can see that it's telling you that there's a missing script. So you could still put this into a scene, and you can still instantiate it, but you cannot modify this. So if I was to try to add a rigid body because I want to give it trajectory, want to give it velocity, or if I want to add a collider, that would not work. You would get an error message. So you do need to fix this first. And this is the only prefab that has this problem. So if you open the prefab and you go into the point light, you can see here there's a missing script. So that's what it's referring to. So you just right click and choose remove component, and then that will resolve that issue. So that's a little bit of troubleshooting concerning this package. So the two scripts I showed you, and then removing this component from this. And for whatever reason, this is the only one that has it, because if you click on any of the other ones, none of the other ones give you that error message. Okay, so let's actually look at the orbs now. So if we go here, so that's what you get. So obviously this is like an ice one. This is nature, has leaves. This one is kind of watery. So decent, I would say, and obviously the fire one that we were just talking about. So decent, I would say not extraordinary, but certainly decent. I'd say better than placeholder graphics, depending on what you're trying to do. And what we'll do now is I'll show you an implementation of these. And yes, because these are particle systems, you can really go into each one of them and modify the settings. I'm not going to do that. That is an entirely different tutorial. But just so you know, you can indeed build on what they've given you. I would just recommend that if you're going to do that, duplicate it first. Because if you do Control D, you create a duplicate. And then I would say modify that. Because if you modify the original, and you don't realize that you've broken something until sometime later, you'd basically have to do a re-import of the package, or at least a partial re-import. So to avoid having that problem, just make a duplicate and then use that for your production. Okay, so we took a look at the orbs, we took a look at the troubleshooting. Now let's just do a quick demonstration of how to use this in a project. So I'm going to briefly pause the video and then go over to that of the project, and I will be right back. Okay, and we're back. I might actually do a separate tutorial for the other package that I'm using in this. It's a spaceship package. So here's, like I was saying, I made a duplicate of the orbs I was going to use, and then I modified those. So what modification did I make? Actually, I just added another child object. So if we go to Orb Arcane, I added a point light. And the reason for this, you can see that it's purple. That way, when this gets fired, this will actually cast light on the turret that's shooting it. Likewise, for the player shot, which I believe is Orb Shock, similarly, you can see there's a point light there, and I did the same thing. I put the point light around the orb. That way, when it's you can see it hitting, you can see the light just before it impacts with the ship. So that's an example of modifying what you are given. So I didn't actually change any of these child objects. I just added a new one. Now, as far as instantiating this is pretty straightforward. You have a GM object. You have, actually, my apologies, that's for the ships, not for the orbs. My apologies. So here's the player spaceship, and you can see it has a script, and there is the player shot. So if we open up that script, pretty typical, you can see public transform player shot. So by making it public, it makes it accessible in the inspector, and then you can just drag and drop that there. So like if I click on this, it literally points to that. And then you just instantiate it with an instantiation command. I know I'm doing this really quickly, but like I said, I've got tons of tutorials about this. This is just meant to be a quick implementation. So those of you who are familiar with my channel know I tend to use the keyboard rather than controller. So if you hit the spacebar, it runs this coroutine. And then when you come to this coroutine, it's just the typical instantiate command. And again, instantiate is 3 arguments. What is being instantiated, where it's being instantiated, and the rotation of the object that's being instantiated. So argument 1, what is being instantiated? That. Where it's being instantiated, you can actually bang out a vector 3. So you can say transform.position, which is the position of the object the script is attached to, or you can modify it. So in this case, I wanted to have a very specific Y value. So rather than just using the position of the ship, I actually modified it. And then the rotation of the orb itself. Okay, so let's play this out. And the reverse is happening as far as the enemy ships. So the ships, similarly, in their case, they have a randomized statement. So there's a 1 in, let's see, so 0 to 7. So that's 0 to 6 inclusive. So if it's greater than 5, so 5 or 6, will instantiate the other, the arcane orb. And then, actually, my apologies, sorry. This is the chance to drop the power up. So that is the third orb. That is the fairy orb there. So sorry about that. The shot is right here. Instantiate enemy shot. So you've got 3 things going on. You're having the instantiation of the player shot when you hit the space key. You have the instantiation of the enemy shot based on a timer in a coroutine. And then the third thing you have is that when the ship is destroyed, there is a chance to instantiate the power-up. And let's just see how that looks, and then that will be about it for this video. So you can see that just before mine impacted, you can see like the light passing it. That's the orb. And when the ships shoot, you very briefly see like pink on the ship. And see that glow there? That is the power up. And then the light is more evident when you're shooting the mothership here. You can see the light along the front of it. And just little things like that give you a greater sense of impact. Obviously, there's no sound effects. And that's about it. So I think that's it for this video. If you have any questions, just let me go. My apologies if I kind of fumbled with this a little bit. This was kind of spur of the moment. Like I said, it's not a large package. It's they're decent. I'm certainly not trying to diminish what the publisher created, but like I said, you got a couple of hiccups there that you need to clear up, and but otherwise, you saw how easily it is to put this right into a project. So if you have any questions, just let me know. I'll probably do a separate video concerning these ships and the package that is a part of maybe later today. Okay, so I hope you found this useful, and please do enjoy the rest of your day.